This is Monday Night Football. There's a lot to talk about here. This is a rematch of this game playing in Seattle. We know what happened last time. There was a late no call on the Julio Jones would-be potential winning touchdown for that game. I think everyone here thinks that was a pass interference call. I think I've talked to both of you.
Yeah,
the league admitted it.
It was.
Yeah,
They just didn't call it when it was time to call it.
It was a pass interference call. The biggest news here is the Seattle Seahawks defense. Richard Sherman is not playing for the rest of the season. Cam Chancellor, Josina Anderson reported that a couple of days ago, will not be playing. And Earl Thomas is, according to Pete Carroll, playing in this game, but as we all know and has been reported, is not feeling anywhere near 100% going into this game.
Yeah, don't think about this Seattle defense as you would normally think about them.
Yeah, you
Because
can't.
the personnel is completely different.
Okay, newsflash. They weren't great when all those guys were playing this year.
No.
They were okay. They've taken a step back. They've all lost a step. This defense is still really good scheme, but it's still very simple. Richard Sherman's great on the outside because you can't really run by him. He's going to grab you. Earl Thomas can cover the entire field, one of the best safeties we've ever seen in any of our lifetimes, but he's not 100%. Cam Chancellor, the third linebacker coming in, not there. Not the same defense. They weren't great before. They take a monster step back with these guys out. Atlanta finally has some things going. I think Tevin Coleman, monster day coming out of the backfield with nobody to cover him. Bobby Wagner can't keep up with him as much as I love Bobby Wagner. He's going to be really good. But maybe the best guy on that defense, definitely now. I think Tevin Coleman has a big day. I think Sanu has a big day. Julio's not 100%, but who's going to cover him?
Yeah, no, it's the thing is, I have a stat here on Julio Jones. That Julio Jones, when he was being protected by Richard Sherman, he had not protected by Richard Sherman. He had a perfect rating. Ryan had a perfect passer rating. He literally was 6 for 6 on targets when Richard Sherman was not guarding him. We all know what's happening.
Now, let's not make the mistake of thinking either one of these two teams are the same as last year. This
No, they're
Atlanta
not.
team is not anywhere near the same team that went in up there last year.
Absolutely not.
I picked them to win this game. I think they're very capable of doing that, but they have their problems. They've had their struggles on offense. I think a lot of this matchup is because of all the injuries. The Seahawks, and the fact that the Seahawks offense, they can't run the ball. Russell Wilson has to do everything.
Yeah.
So again, if that Atlanta defense plays like it did last week, long day for Russell Wilson, more possessions for the Falcons offense. I think they all put up big numbers.
All right, let's talk about these Falcons players specifically. We talked about Tevin Coleman. Devontae Freeman will not be playing in this football game, so Tevin Coleman's the focal point here as far as running back, and you're used to that kind of being a split with the favoritism towards Devontae Freeman. So if you're a Tevin Coleman owner, you're in heaven now because this is you couldn't have dreamed up a better scenario for him and this football team, especially with all these injuries to the Seahawks defense. Mohamed Sanu, Julio Jones, Austin Hooper, of all those guys, you're always starting Julio. I know he's banged up, but you're always starting Julio Jones, especially now that their best cornerback is not playing in this football game. Mohamed Sanu, I think, is also a start in this game, and I'm starting Austin Hooper as well.
Yeah, I agree. Start all your Falcons.
You're starting everybody.
Yeah. Why does nobody talk about how good Tevin Coleman is coming out of the backfield catching the ball?
Yep.
Maybe because he's not the feature guy. Freeman is, but now he is. You're gonna get how good he is today.
All right, let's talk about Russell Wilson and this offense.
Tomorrow.
Okay? Because Russell Wilson is, I know we just talked about how bad the Seahawks defense is, but Russell Wilson, even with a bad offensive line, even with injuries, this guy he makes plays. I watched it every week. I'm like, I put my hands to my face and I go, how did he do that? Because he does it each and every week. The guy is unbelievable. I don't know why the Seattle Seahawks organization hasn't decided to give him a great offensive line, but I could say the same thing in Indianapolis. I question that each and every week. Russell Wilson is a must-start every single week.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's been the best quarterback in fantasy.
QB1.
Yep.
I would love to see what he had, even a halfway decent offensive line, what he could do with
his numbers would go down.
Yeah, actually,
his numbers are so good right now because the offensive line is so bad. He has to play that good every week. He has to run for his life, and he has weapons on the outside. Doug Baldwin makes big plays. Richardson, I don't know if Richardson can run a normal route and catch it, but if you throw it up to him 40 yards down the field, he's coming down with it every time. Period. Jimmy Graham, monster in the red zone, zero running back help. But if he had a good offensive line, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing.
No.
He would. I mean, he's still going to put up numbers. He's still going to be a good quarterback. He's a really good player. He's playing out of his mind because he has to. They've put this entire team on his shoulders at this point, and he's putting up.
All right, the other players in this game, Jimmy Graham, who's actually started to be involved in this offense in the way that you kind of thought he was going to be involved in this offense.
Only in the red zone.
Yeah, only in the red zone.
Because you
but
can't
at
cover
least-
him from the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he's getting plenty of targets in the red zone. And I think that continues. Stay away from that whole running back scenario.
Always.
Unless you're
committee.
starting Marshawn Lynch.
Unless you only have
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch to choose from, then maybe you like some of the other guys here. From a defensive perspective, are you starting either the Atlanta Falcons or the I'm not starting the Seahawks defense, but I think I might start Atlanta's defense as well.
No, you just said you're playing QB1.
Yeah.
He's putting up monster numbers. He's putting up 24 points.
You might get a
so-
few sacks, but I don't see the upside there in playing Atlanta's defense. You have to have a better option.
Yeah.
Is there anything else guys want to get to in this matchup? You like anything else?
Seattle's not the same at home as they've been in the past. They have been very vulnerable at home. They should have lost 3 or 4 weeks ago. Washington went up there and beat them with not a lot of weapons and a pretty healthy defense at that point. I think it's a good matchup for all of the Atlanta offensive players and a bad one for Seattle. I wouldn't play that Seattle defense.
No.
Moving forward.
No, you can't at this point. They haven't been good through the season, but especially right now, you haven't been able to look at this and like this overall matchup.